times that we need to package our off-air discussions as a separate show entirely.
No, we don't.
You know, it's rich content, sort of things that we discuss over here. We have 23 minutes left on Morning Crossfire, ladies and gentlemen, and it will be time well spent because we have Fela Durotoye in the studio. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for the man himself. There's one other thing that we haven't said about this man. He is the loyal, wonderful, I'm trying to find the good adjectives.
Enabling.
You're an enabler. Handsome.
I know what he's going to say.
Husband of the internationally acclaimed and recognized entrepreneur.
My heart is
Tara.
His heartbeat. Founder of House of Tara. The legendary makeup artist.
Now you can clap.
Fela Durotoye.
She was in the studio a few weeks back on a Saturday morning. Incredible. The reason I used enabler because it's something that I have to applaud you for. I asked her off air and she said she couldn't do half of what she does if you were not solidly behind her. And I think too many men, particularly in Nigeria, are scared by the potential of their wives having success. You guys are both equally successful in both of your fields, but some people would be afraid of a woman who's equally successful in whatever field. And I call you a massive enabler because she says it, she couldn't do it without your support. So please, take a page. If you support your wife, you two will be laughing the rich man's life.
Just before we get into our main discussion,
don't mind me.
This is a real issue because I was having a conversation with a friend, a married friend recently, and she's having some troubles in her marriage now because, you know, her husband had always been the one to, you know, provide and do all that. He's having a hard time with his business. She is doing very well in her career, and there's trouble. And, you know, he's picking, you know, faults everywhere, and a lot of men and women, you know, find themselves in this situation. What would your advice be? Because your marriage, whether likely or not, is a model.
Yes.
Oh, well, I am grateful for that. But I'll tell you, and this is something that I'm facing every day with many of the people that I mentor. It seems like generally men are having a bit of a challenge more than the women, and we are in the time of what I call the time of grace for young people, for African people, and for women. These are the three people that it seems like there is stupendous grace upon at this moment. So if you're doing anything for young people, if you're an African or you're doing anything for Africa, and if you're a woman or doing things for women, you're likely to see serious growth in that area. So you can imagine what happens when you're a young African woman. You're unstoppable because you're carrying threefold grace on you. Now, what do the men have to do? Number one is to understand that there is no competition between you and your wife. You are, first of all, one. And your job is to enable your wife as a gardener and a husbandman to be all that she can be. And in doing that, she will naturally submit to you. Okay? The other thing that I find out is that when you spend much time trying to push someone else down, especially when it's your wife, you spend most of your time bending
pushing
down.
yourself. Yeah.
Okay? But when you spend more time trying to lift somebody up, you are in the upward position. Okay? Which means that things are more likely to happen for you when you're likely to make things happen for your wife or other people for that matter. So I would tell anyone, look, even if you're going through a phase, remember it's only a phase. But what you do in this phase will determine whether the memories your wife will have of you in this phase will be permanent or it will be, you know, permanently bad or permanently good. Okay? But a woman who saw her husband support her when he was going through challenges would respect her husband forever and ever. And those times will still come. You know, good times will still come. But then the question is, what will your wife remember when the good times come?
All right, there's so little time now, so we're going to move very fast. I want you to make a broad statement on nation building. We're going through a very hard time in the country, and you, on Twitter, for instance, you're at Fela Durotoye, but you're at FD, the nation builder, something like that. So you're very passionate about nation building. You know, reflecting on the state of Nigeria right now, what should our focus be as individuals?
Okay. First, let me try to put this in perspective, right? And I said this on Twitter this morning. I said, you don't choose the place and time of your birth. The time and the space are not chosen by you, but providence, on the other hand, enables you with talent, skills, and grace to be able to deal with the challenges of your time and space. So somehow you showed up here at this time because you had what it took to deal with the challenges of this time. Okay? And so for me, what I understand is that we need to understand that we have what it takes to solve the problems, no matter how big those problems look like. We're not meant to be commentators about problems. We're meant to be contributors to solutions about those problems. Interestingly, just to let you know, that every time you solve a problem, you create value. Every time you create value, you will be rewarded with wealth. It is a natural law of God. And when you are rewarded with wealth, you will prosper. So every time you see an abundance of problems, you will see an abundance of prosperity to the people who master the art of solving problems. That's why every time you look in a nation that has many problems, when you see flights going out of that country, you will see at the back of that flight blackheads. When you see flights coming into that country, you'll see a lot of, maybe let's say whiteheads. Why? Why? What do they know? Because MTN will tell you that, and this is not advertising for one company or the other, but many of these organizations will tell you, South Africa will tell you, that Nigeria is the honeybee of investment. Because they know that if you can come in, solve the problem, you will make the money. What is it about us that doesn't allow us to see that problems are opportunities? That is what we are trying to change as a culture, to get people to see problems as opportunities.
So if I hear you right, the way we can build this nation is look at each problem that the nation is facing, come up with creative solutions to this problem, create value, and begin to attract wealth. That's a simple.
And then use your wealth to create more solutions. Okay, that is how it works. That's how Nigeria Info has gotten here. Let's go. If you go back to the history of it, it wasn't Nigerians that started this whole thing, but they have ultimately created a situation where they solved problems, they found value, they created value, they found wealth, and they put the wealth back into solving more problems. And today, you and I have opportunity to do the things that we want to do in solving more problems. That's how it works. In any nation that is blessed with problems, it is huge opportunity in disguise. And so once the people can see behind the veil of problems, then you see opportunity.
Some very powerful things coming in here. Now, we've spoken about the fact that we need to start seeing problems as just a curtain in front of the opportunities for us. But the state of where we are now, when will those problems become the opportunities? Because the issue is, how long have we been here? How long will we be here?
I feel you, Tolu. Let me give you a very simple example, okay? 9/11, 2001, America was hit by terrorist attack. Guess what happened? The security industry responded and became the second largest industry in the whole of the United States. Now, because of that response, much of what another 9/11 has not happened. So in one sense, they've curtailed that problem. I can promise you that if it was left to the terrorists, they will hit America every day. And I can promise you that if it was left to these guys, they would kill every American. But the point being, because they found a problem, they found a vulnerability, the people got together. And I'm not talking about government. I think where we have a bit of a challenge is where we begin to think that it is government that must always solve the problem. And the truth be told, 172 million leaders exist in Nigeria, but we are all looking for a leader.
Well, okay, you can hashtag that. you can quote that and tweet that. Well, ladies and gentlemen, part of the solution, is getting people, to look at themselves and see that they have something inside.
You have something.
That you recognize the value that they possess inside. Now, I know that Gemstone is doing a lot of work, to engage individuals and get them, to come out and begin to see the value and that they have and the solutions that they can begin to prefer. Now, tell us about Speaker's Corner.
Okay, well, one of the first things that I would like to say is that, when God created the earth, right, the earth was in chaos, was dark, was totally upside down, very much like many people would like to describe Nigeria today. And what happened was God didn't bring out his hammer, his construction. God spoke. And the moment he spoke, things started to become better. Okay, so the first time we get an introduction to God, his occupation is a public speaker. All right. And nice, so essentially what happens is that light comes by the word, and this is what we're doing. We're gathering people together at the Speaker's Corner event. For many years, 9 years now, Fela, have been mentoring other speakers. I have been pulling them together, sometimes 600 people in a gathering, and I will feed them. And it's free of charge, and I'll pour myself into them. And that platform was called Speaker's Corner. And tomorrow, I'm gathering 800 speakers together, right? And I'm going to be feeding them. But this time, it's not only Fela that has lit the candles of these people. There are other people whose candles I have lit over the years, and they themselves are coming to be mentors to the people who are aspiring to be speakers and are emerging as speakers. So I'm taking the guys who have now been established, and some of the renowned names like Leke Olda, like Richie Dyer Johnson, like Olanre Olushola, like Kunle Shorinyo, like, I mean, all the big, if you're a big speaker, if you have a big voice in this country, you're likely to be at Speakers Common tomorrow. That I know for sure. You know.
So tell us the plan and the vision.
Okay, so the plan is very simple. Tomorrow we're gathering people together, again, to network, to share, to light their candles. But beyond that networking event, right, it is a bigger platform to start and flag off something called the Gemstone Speakers Network, which is a more structured way of being able to mentor other people. So it's not just Fela mentoring, but it's other people mentoring. The first project that the Speakers Network is, however, going to take on is called the Values Infusion Project. Sheon P and Tolu, this is going to be the largest in effort, private sector-driven effort in reorienting a nation in history. We are embarking on a Values Infusion Project to train 1 million people for free, before December 2014.
Take that again.
I'm going to say it again. The Gemstone Speakers Network is going to train 1 million people for free on a one-day value-based leadership program, where we're teaching on 10 values that we have articulated, and then I'll run through them very quickly. Number 1, make a positive impact on everyone you meet and everywhere you go. We will teach you how. Number 2, be a solution provider and not a part of the problem to be solved. We will teach you how. Number 3, be a role model worthy of emulation. We will teach you how. Number 4, be your best in all you do, in particularly the things you're naturally good at. We will tell you how to find what you're naturally good at and how to become your best at it. Number 5, do the right thing at all times regardless of who's doing the wrong thing. Number 6, value time and make the best use of it. Sharon, I tell you something. African time in the next few years will mean on time. Number 7, care and show respect through your words and your actions. Number 8, consciously build a great legacy, starting now, today, and every day. I tell people the way you live your life will either make your name a padlock or a key to everybody else that bears your name. If you live your life in a particular way, you will lock doors on everyone else. If you live your life in a particular way, you will open doors for everybody else that bears your name. Number 9, live a life of integrity and honor. One of the most important things about where we are as a nation. Number 10, make your family, your nation, and your God proud. What we are doing is we have a one-day leadership program wrapped around this, and we are going to be training 1 million people at no cost. At no cost to them. Okay, how are we doing this? Somebody's going to say, Fela, this is one of those your crazy dreams again. How are you going to do this? It's actually simpler than you think. We are going to be training on the 1st and 2nd of August 1,000 speakers from the Speakers Network for free. And those 1,000 people are going to commit to train 1,000 each.
So they build.
So that's 1,000 by 1,000, right? And
that's 1 million.
And it's going to be done in 3 months. It is simpler than we think.
So if you do this in 3 months, I'm thinking 2015 we can train 4 million people.
It's unthinkable because we have to first of all remember that that's just 1,000 people. So we can't say how many more are going to want to join. But if only 10% of 1 million people say, well, I'm interested in sharing this, then that's 100,000 people. We have not yet seen, but the world is about to watch a nation transform its own values by itself. I'm talking about the people of Nigeria transforming their own values by themselves. We're not waiting for the government to do this. This is not a government project. This has no government funding. This is us, by us, all of us sacrificing to do this.
Why do you think public speaking is the way to go, is the route to take?
Because in a sense, values are, as you know, as you know, Tolu, people would say to you, Africa has, as well as most of the world today, is now facing a leadership crisis. But Nigeria is facing a much more difficult one, which is called a values crisis, where we've seen a decadence and a decay in our values, and not just decline, this is total decadence, where it's not just that people are thinking that what is right is wrong, they're thinking that what is wrong is right. Okay, so when you get into that point, you need to reprogram the people. I call it our Intel inside, the thing that helps us to decide what is right and what is wrong, that it has been corrupted. The software has been corrupted. Every software that is corrupted crashes the hardware.
Yes.
This is the big idea. Now, what happens is the only access to the heart or to the mind or to the soul is the word. Okay, so when you speak the word, it gives images, it changes minds. So this is what we've got to do. We found out that the people who have the capacity to use their voices to bring about change must first bring about internal change before they can reach out for external change.
All right, there's so little time, and it's amazing that we're talking about values, because there's a friend of mine on the line that I'm going to get to, Uche. He's the executive director of Center for Values and Leadership, and they also are having a program tomorrow that he wants to quickly tell us about. But just as we're getting on to reach Uche, very, very, you would say, ambitious, realizable though, because we see how it's going to work, but great plan. 1 million people by December. So you're training 1,000 trainers.
1,000 trainers.
Who would then go and each train 1,000 across the country.
Yeah, and just a very interesting thing is that Professor Durotoye, who's also the founder of the Center for Values and Leadership, is going to actually be the one flagging off tomorrow the Gemstone Speakers Network.
Amazing.
All right, I think we have Uche on the line. Hello. Good morning.
Good morning, Uche. It's good to have you with us. Uche, welcome this morning. All right, someone who is a co-warrior like you, fighting for a change in the value system, is here live with us in the studio. Fela Durotoye. You want to say hello to him?
Good morning, Mr. Fela. Yes, he's somebody I have been admiring from afar, but he doesn't know.
Hi, Uche. Good morning.
Good morning. Because we are all doing almost the same thing. What he's doing with Gemstone and what Prof is doing with Stevie seem to be on the same cause.
Yes.
Fantastic. All right, Uche, do you want to quickly tell us what your program is going to be about tomorrow? Just quickly.
Okay, yes, we've talked about this program a bit before.
We're supposed to come into the studio, but no time.
The Stevie Monthly Role Model Forum is a program that